getting ready to make a squash pie, and I wanted to point out that you can still have delicious stuff that's, you know, when you use ingredients like this, raw cane sugar, this is a beautiful replacement, organic superfood made out of red palm by Nutiva. That's a great substitute. Look at those beautiful labels for Crisco. Our fresh duck eggs. And then here's what the squash ended up. It's so sweet and smooth. And I just can't believe how nice it came out. And it was so much more than this. I just took 2 cups out aside. And then we have our, this is a pan that I got from my beautiful Doc Iverson. And so I'm going to use this pan today and make an organic squash pie. So let's get started. So here we are at the shell bowl, and all this is my regular pie shell recipe, but I've altered it over the years and now made it organic, right? So that would be 1 cup of, again, I'm using organic white flour, and normally it calls for 1/3 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon of shortening. As I told you before, I'm using this Nutiva shortening, right? And so that's a lot drier, and so this is probably 1/3 plus 3 or 4 tablespoons. You got to just feel it to learn. So I sort of work the shortening into the salt and flour, something like this. You can do it in a mixer, you can do it however you want to do it. I'm doing it like this because I'm making just one little tiny pie. If I was making a whole bunch of pies, I'd do it in a mixer or whatever, right? So you can see it gets kind of clumpy, really. I haven't added any water yet. Now we start adding water by the tablespoon, and by the way, I only use nice, light, not mineral heavy water. Don't use, like we have an old well here which tests beautifully healthy, but it's of course full of minerals, and I wouldn't want to put it in my pie crust. So you add the water a tablespoon at a time, and you just let it get into the pie dough consistency. So here it is. It holds together real well. Looks like pie dough, right? So you know you got a good consistency. That only took 2 tablespoons of water, just kneading it, and that's what happened. So it doesn't take, it's just a scant amount of water, 2 or 3 tablespoons. But if you remember, I did a little extra of the Nutiva, so it needed less water, okay? Okay, so here I am ready to roll it out, and you can see that I have it on a smart mat, and you know, it just makes it so much easier flipping it into the pan, you know, handling it so much easier. These days it's almost a deal breaker for me because I've made so many pies and I'm just so used to it. So here we are rolled out on the smart mat in the circle, and I want to show you, this is how you figure out that you have a big enough shell, right? You just go like that. You can see I have plenty of room to turn it. Okay, pie is here. I haven't turned it yet. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to put together the filling right now. I think for pumpkin pie you want to always, or actually this is squash, but you want to use the paddle, not the whip. So we're gonna turn the pie now, and watch me flub it up now that I'm doing it in front of the camera. So you want to just, I'm gonna put this aside for a second because I'm gonna sort of pick the mat up a little bit and make sure it's not glued to the counter, because you want to do this in like one swift deal. You put it on, you put your hand under it, and you turn it over. That's how fast it's done. And you see that it's ready. This stuff is kind of cracking a little because it's getting cold. It's been sitting here a while. So that's going to be a little bit of a trial. So I'm just going to trim off the excess for you guys to show you how I do it. I just use a little scissor. I'm not going to make you sit through the tedium of fixing the cracks in this because it's a little cold. Actually, it wouldn't be this cold if I wasn't trying to film it, right? Because I had to run back and get the tripod and all kinds of different stuff. And it's tedious to repair it, and I can tell you, I can remember as a kid the unhappiness of a cracked crust, but I'm a professional now, so it'll be okay. Okay, so just one more thing about the crust, and that is I fold this under, but I use a little water from here under the edge, and that way it sticks it better. So when you make that little edge with the pointed crust, it sticks together, and it's going to be a trial. So I'm going to let you guys sit that out. So ready to pop it in the oven.